So a lot of people have told me recently that they don't know how to write a good book review. They don't know what to put in it, they don't know what would be valuable to other readers, they don't know where to start. So here are my 5 simple steps for writing a killer book review. And after this, you will no longer have an excuse for not writing a book review because you will have this formula to help you. So let's get started. Before we get started with the 5 simple steps, I just want to add in an optional step that would be at the beginning if you choose to use it, and that is the summary of the book. Now, most things like Goodreads and Amazon.com and Barnes & Noble, they'll have a description already on the page where the book is shown. But if you choose to write a summary, or if there's a place where your review will be shown where there isn't already a summary, then here's how you would do it. Basically, a good summary has 3 key points in it. Introduce the main character, introduce the main conflict, and introduce a question. So for example, if you were to summarize The Lord of the Rings, say, you would say something along the lines of, when Frodo Baggins inherits his uncle's magic ring, he little knows that it is the most deadly weapon in Middle-earth, nor that the mysterious Dark Lord Sauron has sent his 9 black riders to recover the ring which was lost many years ago. Will Frodo be able to destroy the ring without succumbing to the temptation of its power? So as you can see, that has all 3 elements. It has the main character, it has the main conflict, and it has the main question that the story answers. Now, the question doesn't necessarily have to be a question. It could be phrased like a statement, but in such a way that it kind of arouses a question in the reader's mind. For example, you could substitute the last sentence of the summary that I just gave with this statement. As Frodo journeys to destroy the ring, he struggles not to succumb to the temptation of its power. So there's your optional summary if you choose to use it. So this overview is important because in the way that I set up these 5 steps, the cons come before the pros, and I'll explain why later. But basically, you don't want a potential reader reading your review and saying, oh wow, they have so many cons, well, I'm not even going to bother reading this book, because maybe you really liked the book and there were a lot of pros afterward. So you want to give the overview to explain, yeah, I really did like this book, here are my cons first, and now here are the pros, and that way they'll be able to realize, the entirety of your opinion and not just be thrown off by the specifics of the cons and the pros that you give later. Just give an overview of how you felt about the book. It could be something along the lines of, I really enjoyed the story because it was very well written, had strong characters. Unfortunately, some of the content was a little bit offensive to me. And that will at least give people an overview of your general feelings, why you gave it so many stars or whatever in the rating. And then the pros and cons will be discussed more specifically later in your review, so people will be able to understand what it is that you picked out specifically that was good or not so good about the story. Why do I do this first? Well, because I like leaving the more positive things for the end, because that's what people tend to remember most, is the thing that they read last. So just to be fair to the author and to kind of be able to elevate the book's merits above its faults, I just feel like it's most fair to be able to discuss its faults first and then its merits second, so that the merits are what's going to stick in the reader's mind. So the cons. Discuss things, anything that you didn't like or that you didn't feel was particularly well done. And here are some opening sentences that you can finish to do that. You could do, the book would have been more enjoyable for me if, or I would have enjoyed the book more if, I feel like this book was particularly weak in the area of, I was concerned or disappointed by. Generally, the 3 that you want to go for are the violence, sex, and bad language, because that's what most people look for when they're concerned about offensive content. And when you do this, it's best to be as objective as possible. These are its merits or the things that it did particularly well. Some ways that you can start your sentences might be, I enjoyed this book because, or I felt this book was particularly strong in the area of, or I especially appreciated. So basically just talk about the things that you enjoyed and the aspects that you most appreciated about the story, whether that's characters or content, whatever that might be. Now make sure that it doesn't have any spoilers. You don't want to spoil anything for anybody, but you do kind of want to give the flavor of the book, and people love excerpts. It shouldn't be very long. It should only be like maybe a couple paragraphs, maybe even a couple sentences. And it's also a way to make your review stand out, because not a lot of people do that, but people really like seeing an excerpt of the book and getting a feel for the story itself straight from the book's pages and not just from a reviewer. I recommend that you take a portion with dialogue, because dialogue shows a lot of interaction. But if you don't take dialogue, then do some other action type sequence, because that is kind of like a teaser trailer for the book. It just shows all the most exciting parts. So when you're done watching this video, go down to the video's description. There's a link that I put there, and when you click on that link, it'll take you to a page where you can download a one-page summary of all of these 5 steps. And so that'll just help you write your next book review. And when you write that book review, please put a link in the comment section below and show me what you wrote. And maybe it's a book that I've never read before and I'd love to read it. So thanks for watching, have fun reading, and have fun writing your review.